Hello there, fellow dazzlers and new players alike. What's going on, everybody? Hey, Ralsei just started taking you on a trip through time. So take a look at Deltarune Chapter 1, and why I think it still holds up as a good entry point to this saga. What I think works good with this game is it kind of gives you a bit of a bird's eye view of how this game is, right? You have the light world segments, and then you have the dark world segments. Then you've got the combat, and you're shown very quickly that unlike Undertale, there's going to be a few changes to how combat works. You have a party now instead of it just being you. There's different actions you can take. The battles take place either in the actual field itself, or in this kind of like, battle background area. But they're full color, no longer first person, no longer black and white views of characters, and a change up to how the battle system works too. You have enemies that can move your bullet box around, which creates an additional obstacle for you to maneuver around, and immersing enemies is a little bit more than just clicking the right options in a row. It can be down to something like with one enemy, you have to mash a button to, as if you're blowing on them, to blow all the dirt off of them, or another character who's all mixed up, and you gotta kind of put these blocks in order to make them happy and not wanting to fight with you. The other thing it does too is it establishes the comedic tone of this game fairly well. And it does have a certain kind of humor to it. I kind of feel like it's a bit more memey internet humor. Not in the fact that it's referencing memes that are going to get dated by the time this game comes out, or by the time the entire thing comes out. It just kind of feels like something that denizens of the internet would find funny, I guess you could say. But it does more than just be a funny haha game. It has a lot of nice heartfelt moments, and watching Susie kind of go through her own little character arc from, trying to be the badass, I don't care about anything, to really caring enough about Lancer to the point where she's willing to turn away from being violent towards the king if it means not potentially losing one of the few, if only, friends that she has, at least from Chapter 1. Well, Chris also kind of manages to become a friend of theirs as well. And there's a lot of mystery too that's set up. When you start the game, you're connected to someone who has you put together a vessel, not a character, a vessel. And at the end, you're told it's thrown away and that your choices don't matter. And your name is Chris, and you're controlling this character who seems to be able to act on their own to some extent. And as Deltarune goes on, we'll see this divide becomes even more evident. But let's focus on Chapter 1 for right now. While that is a good entry point, there are some things that differ. There are mechanics that do change. The enemies being able to target individual characters gets gone by Chapter 2, and Chapter 2 introduces characters being able to act on their own. So if you decide to revisit this after playing Chapter 4, just remember you need to have Chris up in order to use Act for the other characters. Don't get thrown off when you decide to go retake the Devil fight, because that guy will mollywop you. But something else I think that the game shows that it has a lot of heart. And I know when it comes to creative endeavors, it's hard to really... How do you really say that? How can you say this has heart and that doesn't? Well, you ever look at an AI-generated image and then looked at art, actual art, look at an AI generated image done in the style of an artist, and then look at a non-AI generated image that's done by a human that's in a similar style, and there's just kind of that difference, right? There's that spark, that kind of or look at something that's just kind of made, here's another one, we're just kind of throwing it out to make our money, to do our thing or whatever. And this is yeah, of course you got to make money off your games, but this has a lot of heart and, pardon me saying this, soul behind it. As souls are important to the world of Deltarune and Undertale. We don't know to what extent in Deltarune, but your little red thing you control is a soul. And I think that's what shines through, not just in the entire saga, but with Chapter 1. As a proof of concept, it really says, this is what this game's about. This is why I'm here. This is a story that I want to tell. Whatever that reason might be, Toby Fox is here with his group, tell us the story and take us on an adventure. And what an adventure, what a little cute mini hero's journey Chapter 1 is, with more cute, funny, zany characters, but also some serious characters in the instance of the king Lots of laughs, like at one point you have to actually build a machine. It's the kick your own ass machine, and if you make it a duck, the game straight up tells you your machine sucks ass. It's like, thanks game. You know, like little silly things like that. And the music is just top notch, of course. Like, listen to some of this music. Like, it's a very good soundtrack that does an excellent job of really bringing you to places. You really get the feeling of wherever you're at, or of what the character's like that you're fighting, in the case of specific, you know, character battle themes, like the world revolving, which is the theme that plays when you fight Jevil. And you also get a bit of introduction to, I think, one of the ideas in Deltarune is that there's only one ending and your choices don't matter. But they do, because the way you treat the Darkners in this world affect how they treat you at the end of the chapter, and how that might turn out for later chapters as well. It's definitely a game that has a lot of merit to it, and I think still holds up quite well, especially considering that Chapter 1 came out in 2018, Chapter 2 wouldn't release until 2021, and it was all the way up till 2025 before we got Chapters 3 and 4, so to see it kind of, despite some of the antiquated mechanics, that is the ones that will carry over to other chapters, it still fits pretty good, introduces ideas, and you can tell that while there are some things that they changed, it still fits pretty good with the story, with a lot of mystery and what's going on here, that as the chapters go on, it's expanded on. So if you've played Chapter 1, or play Chapter 1 and you're like, I don't know how this is going to turn out, Chief, rest assured, this isn't a blood getting stone squeezed from it. This is an oasis, and we've only seen some of its watery depths, if you catch my very bad metaphor. But enough about me jibber-jabbering. Thank you very much for listening. If you want to see gameplay footage, I would recommend not yet. I would rather you play the game and see how it is. If you want to see if it's a game for you before you spend the $25 on it, which, by the way, that's, yes, for chapters 1 through 4, but any new chapters that come out, such as Chapter 5, slated for 2026 release, you'll get for free. I have my own Let's Play all the way through Chapter 1 in 3 videos. They're a bit long, so throw them in the background, listen to them, whatever, if you want to get a look at that. But it definitely is a game you should play blind, much like with Undertale. There's a lot that you can see, some stuff you might skip, and I feel like there's moments that hit a bit better when you see them for the first time rather than having seen them in a Let's Play. Although I'm always of a mentality that even if you watch something that spoils everything, playing it for yourself is different, but that's just me. Anyways, thank you so much for listening, fellow Dazzlers and new players alike. Once again, got a Let's Play going. If you want to watch all of Chapter 1, I'll have that linked in the description down below. And remember, your pals will always be with you in the dark. Your soul has a lot of light that can shine on others, and no matter what anyone says, you are a beautiful star. Take care, and see you for Deltarune Chapter 2.